Welcome to episode 4 of Controlled Substance. I haven't recorded an episode for a while. I wanted to commit for once every week, but then I had 3 weeks of trouble with my mom. We had a lot of busy times here in my businesses, so I'm really excited for this recording. And if that's not your first episode, then I really appreciate that you came back, and I'm so grateful for you. If that's your first episode that you're listening to, welcome. So in this episode, I want to talk about something that I call optimizing for the wrong people. And this is a habit or a pattern that is a hidden pattern that I see that keeps entrepreneurs, creators, anyone who wants to do something big with their lives small when they optimize for people who are not their audience in the first place, who are not their ideal customers in the first place. And where did it start? Where did I come up with that pattern, or I recognize it in my own behavior? So a few months ago, I decided to post on my personal Instagram more of business content. And I haven't done that ever since. My Instagram was super personal. I posted food and workouts and travel and friends, and my audience there where, my friends, my homies, people from high school, family members, it was not business related at all. Not my audience, not my content. But I realized that I don't want to keep things separately. In my newsletter, I mostly shared business content. In my Twitter, I mostly shared or only shared business content. And my Instagram, it was only personal. But then I realized that I only have one life and I don't want to gatekeep one from another. So we decided that I want to post more business-related content on my Instagram. But then I procrastinated on it. For a month, I haven't done it. And I tried to understand why I haven't done this. And it was because I tried to come up with a formula or a structure for content that would speak to the people I do want to attract. People who are interested in business, in entrepreneurship, in my own journey, in the insights that I can share with them, as well as all of my homies and friends and people who never heard anything business related from me. And I thought about those people, which I really love. Some of them I haven't met for years, like friends from high school. But I thought about what would they think when I post that type of content? What would they think at the back of their mind? What would their feedback be like? Will they unfollow? Will they laugh at me? Will they, would someone be interested in it? Maybe they think I'm this weirdo. Like, what's this business thing that you're talking about? Most of them know that I do business, but never posted any business content. So we tried to come up with a formula that would cater, that would speak to the right people that I do want to attract and the wrong people for that type of content. And when I couldn't really come up with that formula, I realized that I don't do what I really want, which is to post my insights and sharing my journey on Instagram, because I optimize for the wrong people. And when I realized that and I saw this pattern in me, I could see how I do the same, or how I used to do the same in many other areas in business as well. But before we go there, because it changed my relationship with my business, with my work, I would even say to some degree with myself, but it also made me a better entrepreneur and content creator, which I'll get to. But first, I wanted to uncover what causes us entrepreneurs, just people in general, to optimize for the wrong people. And I think that it stems from the need for validation. We want to feel loved. We want to feel like we're doing something right. We want, when we send an email, when we make an offer, when we launch a product, when we post a piece of content, we want people to love it. And that's a great thing, right? This is why people create content. This is why people make offers. This is why people do marketing. But when we only measure that by the number of people who said yes to a very specific piece of content, an email, an offer, a product, then we try to cater to too many people. And when we try to optimize for everyone, we basically optimize for no one. And when we try to optimize for everyone, the right people and the wrong people, it usually stems from the need for validation. We measure sales as our own good, like how good we did as entrepreneurs, as brand founders, as human beings. So we want to feel good about ourselves and we want to get more feedback and we want to be more successful. It's usually not about the money. Like, for example, if you post a piece of content, it doesn't necessarily make you money. But if you send an email, then the measurement is how many people clicked and bought, and the same for any offer that you make, etc. So I realized that, again, when you try to optimize for everyone, you basically optimize for no one. Because let's take an example. If you enter a room and there are 15 people in there, and you try, and they're all different people, and you could contribute, you have something that each of them would resonate with, or most of them would resonate with, a story in your life, a fact, whatever it is. When you try to only say things that will resonate with most people in the room, then usually you have a very low level, watered down kind of conversation that doesn't really hit people. It doesn't really get them to say, wow, that was so accurate. You usually have these washy-wishy like conversations. You speak about generic stuff. Maybe you give these cliches, whatever it is, right? This is just an example. But that's the same for every piece of content or any marketing that you really do. And when I say wrong people, I mean the people who are not interested in that thing specifically. It doesn't mean that they're wrong completely. And what do I mean by that? So in reality, most people couldn't care less and wouldn't care less about anything that you put out there. Your offers, your emails, your ads, your content, most people would not care about it at all. Very few people will care about it. Some of them would love it, would like it a lot. Some of them really hate it. So the ones who don't like it or hate it, they will maybe unsubscribe and they will say, I will never buy from them again. I will unfollow. I don't care about their content. I don't want it anymore, which is okay because they were not your audience. They were not your customers in the first place. But when we try to optimize for those people, or we try to avoid having people to unsubscribe, to say no, to unfollow, then we shift all of our energy from the right people who say yes. Or when we try to optimize for the people, for the 98% who wouldn't care less, and we try to think, how can I create a piece of content? How can I write an email? How can I make an offer that would speak to most people, to so many people? Then it doesn't really touch anyone. It's not as interesting. It's not as specific. It doesn't give that feeling of, wow, I totally get it. He totally gets me. That brand totally gets me. That business, that person totally gets me. So now I want to hear more from them. I want to be a part of it. But you can only get to that level when you double down on the right people. Now, the right people are the right people for a very specific thing. Now, again, what do I mean by that? For example, our product, we have a Kill Switch, is a sleep supplement. And basically anyone in the world, like most people suffer from bad sleep. Most people who suffer from bad sleep could enjoy our product, could benefit from our product. So these could be moms and biohackers and athletes and entrepreneurs and students, and the list goes on and on. When we tried to optimize for all of them, and we said, okay, if we only speak about the struggles that moms have with sleep, or we share screenshots of sleep scores from Whoop, then the other group would not be interested. The other group would say, this is not for me. When we talk about the fact that our product is a hot cocoa sleep formula, then people who hate hot chocolate or don't really care about it, they will unsubscribe. They will not want us. And so let us try to market our product in a way that speaks to everyone. So our emails, our marketing, our ads were about better sleep, sleep better, improve your sleep. And that's very vanilla. That's very vanilla, and most brands and products are saying that. It doesn't really touch the right buttons of the right people. So instead of thinking, how can we create content? How can we make offers? How can we market our product in a way that caters to a wide range of people? We thought, how can we double down on one specific avatar or person in each of our emails and ads and copyright and the influencers that we attract? So when we reach out to influencers, for example, we're not just looking for generalists who post about everything, who cater to anyone. We go after mom influencers who talk about wellness and biohacking. We go after the athletes who post their Whoop scores and Oura Ring. And we speak to each of these groups in a different way so that they feel and understand that we feel them, we understand their audience, we understand what they care about. So they think, wow, my audience would really like it. So we do the same when we write emails. So instead of talking about how anyone could benefit from that better sleep, which is true, one email could go after moms, and we double down on that. One email can be about the relationship or the relation between menopause and sleep. So we double down on it. But if you think, okay, but the 25-year-old entrepreneur, the 30-year-old mom, when I talk about menopause, they would not really care about it. So maybe they would unfollow, maybe they would unsubscribe, maybe they would think that the product is not for them. Some of them will, but most of them will just go on with their days. Most of them would not care as much. But the next email, where we talk about the struggles of entrepreneurs and their sleep, then the entrepreneur audience would say, wow, they totally get me. They totally understand what I'm going through. Maybe I buy this product, or at least I want to keep hearing what they have to say. So even if only 2 out of 10 emails, ads, words, pieces of content that we use cater for that person, they would still want to stick around. They would still want to buy our product, or at least listen to what we have to say, even though the other 8 emails, the other 8 ads, the 80% of our content does not speak to them specifically. So whenever we try to optimize for the 98%, we take our attention and focus and creativity from the 2% who are interested. And when we do that, we get less people who are interested because we just sound like everyone else. We don't really touch the buttons that we need to touch for them to say, this is exactly for me. I want to hear from them. I remember that message because it resonated so well with me. And that's how you differentiate yourself when there are millions of brands out there and thousands and thousands of products that solve the same problem that you solve, or hundreds of thousands of creators that talk about the same topic. This is how you differentiate yourself, because you speak to a very specific group of people, and you can speak to a few groups of people. And here is another example. So I help brand founders grow their brands with influencers and affiliates and without ads. My newsletter, as I record it, it has just shy of 2,400 founders in it. Some of them have 9-figure brands. Some of them are just getting started. Some of them are in pre-launch mode, and some of them are grinding their way to the first 10K month. If I try in each of my email speak to all of them and make sure that they're all super interested in all of my emails, then I would miss most of them because my message would not be as strong. My message would not resonate with the 2% that they needed to resonate with, or the 5%. But it would be just this watered down generic version that doesn't really speak to anyone. So one of my emails could speak about a success story that I had with a 9-figure brand. It will inspire the bootstrap entrepreneur who is just getting started. I can also share that when I shifted from trying to please everyone to thinking, what do I want to share today? And who do I want to resonate and read that message? Who is it for? Then I started getting replies from people who are not the ideal audience for that email. They said, I love the way you think. I love the way you double down on that thing. Can we work together? How can we work together? So, because when you have very bold messages that make people think, even if they are not the ideal people for that message, then it sends this energy that you're really passionate about what you do. If you sell a physical product, that you really care and you really understand your customers, even if they are not the type of customer that you wrote that email to, or this ad, or that influencer, or whatever. The other thing that happens is that when we are in that mindset of how can we please, how can we get the feedback of as many people as possible, then we fail to double down on the people who've already said yes. So let's say that, again, let's use the email analogy or example. Let's say that you send an email and you only got 0.5% of people to respond or like, click, buy, whatever. And you think, okay, that's only 0.5%. How can I write a better email that will get 5% of people to respond? So, which is not wrong. This is how any business person, this is how any business, any marketer should think. But before that, we want to think about the 0.5% of people who have said yes. Because when we double down on them, then guess what happens? We attract more of them. We get them to buy more. We get them to pay more attention. We get them to buy more of our stuff. But when we immediately jump to, this is not enough, how can I get more? Then we lose the momentum that we already built. We lose the yeses that we already got. And I believe that what you appreciate appreciates. So you could send more emails to that group and you can write more messages that would cater to that group. Maybe if you write the same message in a different way, you'd get 2x people who would reply, who would buy. It doesn't mean that you have to now think about other people, like the 98% who said no. And when I shifted from optimizing for the wrong people to just optimizing for the people I want to help and support and sell to in every time that I create a piece of marketing email content, I personally felt freer. I felt like I don't need to overthink. I took all of the energy and all of the time and the mental capacity that I had on how can I rewrite that message in a way that would attract the right people but would not repel the wrong people, to I just say whatever I need to say, whatever I believe in, and I will double down on it because the right people would love it. And then the next piece can cater to a different group of people or the same, but it starts with what is the messaging. It can be, for example, it can start with a review that you got from a customer. If you want to share it, and let's say that that review came from a mom who shared her struggles with sleep, right? It's a real example that we get every week. we don't just try to share that review and say, how can everyone benefit from it? We double down on the audience that it should resonate with. And then the next week would get another review from a different type of person. And I would double down on it, on that email, on that piece of content. But what happens in those moments is that the right people now become raving fans. They want to keep hearing from you. And whenever you send something or whenever you post something that does not cater to them, they still have some grace, right? Because they won't unfollow you, they won't unsubscribe. But when we create out of that fear of what if they would say no, it's not even they would not care, it's that they would say no, then we optimize for the wrong people. And that blocks us from really catering for the right people. And it also blocks us personally from operating from or creating from a place of creativity and passion. And I think that it really translates to marketing and the content, because people can sense it. People can sense when you try to please everyone, when you try to speak to everyone and get everyone, like just speak about a very vanilla kind of subject. Then this is when people don't care, not the right people and the wrong people. And then if you keep doing that, people just lose interest and they will stop listening. So my best advice, if you caught yourself in those moments, or if you could recognize that pattern with yourself, then I would encourage, and you're not sure where to start, I would encourage you to find a piece of content or an email or someone that you follow that you really resonated with. And you will see that you don't resonate and you don't really care about most of their content. But also, it will show you that you still resonate, you still remember that. There is a reason why in this exercise you brought it up. And you don't think that, oh, that person posts content or that brand sends many emails and most of them I don't really care, so I don't care about anything that they do. But even just one piece of content, one email, one message, one sentence sometimes that really resonated with you made you stick with them. So this is your starting point. Just double down. If you have one message that you want to communicate, if you have one review, if you want to post some content, just go all in on that and see what kind of responses you get. I can tell you that when I had this fear of posting on Instagram, on my personal Instagram, and then I did it, you know what happened? Is that the people that I thought in my head that would laugh at me, that would not care, that would unfollow, these are the people who actually replied, who liked it, who applauded for me, who commented, and people I haven't spoken with for years. Like, what happened here? And that moment, it's not that, they are my ideal clients or they will buy my product necessarily, but what happened in that moment was that I realized how much of these bullshit thoughts I've had for so long that prevented me from doing something that I wanted to do for so long because I was afraid of their comments. So at some point I said, you know what, I don't care if they don't like it. But then what happened is that they liked it a lot. Because you send that kind of energy where you're like, I just do what I want. I am so passionate about it. I double down on it. And that's it. And it magnets people to you. So I hope that was helpful and useful and inspired you if you resonated with it. And again, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it.